The companions in Bethesda games are incredibly useful, because despite them blocking up doorways like your mom's thighs, they are basically walking multi-tools, from carrying your burdens to laying down their lives to protect you. Bethesda's companions are definitely worth having around, but what if you take all that away? Let me introduce you to the Everscamps. These 4 little pests are temporary companions tied to a quest, and they are as useful as a screen door in a submarine. They don't attack enemies, you can't give them items, and worst of all, they don't provide any witty banter. In fact, they just make this god-awful noise 24/7. So I asked myself, can you beat Oblivion with the Everscamps? The rules are simple. I can only deal damage to enemies with my Everscamps, but I am allowed to kill them in case they get in my way or break, which they do a lot. Let's get started. After making Old Man Jenkins, I escape my cell and sort out my stats. After picking the mage sign, I decided to make my own class. Since I won't be doing any direct damage to anyone aside from my scamps, the major skills I invest in are tied to movement and magic. After naming it, I run through the sewers, then after emerging into the warm embrace of the morning sun, I immediately head to Leowin to get the Everscamp staff, which means breaking into Rosentia Gelenis' house. Luckily, getting the staff from her is quite simple. You just have to have a few conversations with her and the head of the local mages guild. After getting the staff, I went back to the sewer entrance to show you what happens if you don't use magic to control them. They will attack enemies, but only if they throw the first punch. And that's not ideal, as the Everscamps are level 2 and don't scale with the player, so naturally, their health is shit. It's not likely to happen though, as getting enemies to hit them is incredibly frame specific when they aren't aggroed on them. Luckily for me, this mage appeared and killed the bandits for me. Then he gets his innards removed by a slaughterfish. After selling their possessions for some quick cash, I buy the command creature spell from Alberic Little at the Carl Mages Guild, which makes the Everscamps aggro on whoever's attacking me. This is the only way to play this run. The only problem is, I have to apply it to each individual scamp, and that won't do at all. So before I get Bean Boy from Kvatch, there's something else that needs doing. I need to be able to make my own spells. Now, I could use Frostcrag's Spire, because all I need for that is some gold, which is easily scrounged. But it wouldn't be as satisfying as earning my way into the Mage College by forcing my scamps to do all the dirty work. So, I have to get some recommendations from all the leaders of their local Mages Guild. Most of the quests to get them involve having a good old chinwag with people. 3 of them, however, did require some violence. The first time it happened, the scamps tear them to pieces like a Christmas turkey. But when I had to fight these zombies, I had a bit of a problem, because they would kill the scamps in one hit. So it took a very long time to get through this quest, and I couldn't just run past them, because I had to kill every single one to complete the quest, which took the biscuit. Eventually, my scamps finally managed to do their damn jobs, and the third one was just chilling out watching some battle mages murder a serial killer. And when I finally get all the recommendations, I buy some scrolls, dupe them, and use them to duplicate some flawed topaz so I can sell them for some dosh. Then I use my newly made gold to make a better version of the command creature spell, with a wider area of effect, which means I only have to fire it at the middle of them and it affects all 4 of the little gremlins within a 10-foot radius. Now it's time to descend into hell, but before I could even take a couple of steps towards the sigil tower, I encountered one problem after another. Firstly, my scamps wouldn't follow me into the Oblivion gate, to the point that when I left to check where they were, they had vanished completely. Luckily, waiting a while fixed this problem, so even though it was annoying, it was easily fixed. Then after progressing a bit and getting myself some fine legwear, the bigger issue was that my spell stopped working, and I couldn't for the life of me fix it either. I even tried drowning them in lava to see if it reset them. So I had to resort to running back to the Mages College and making another spell with touch instead of target. And this one lasted me until my illusion was high enough to make an upgraded version. So at least I fixed that problem. For the most part, my tactic for winning fights went like this. I distract the enemy by blocking their attacks with the staff, whilst my scamps gank the shit out of them. And this is working pretty well so far. I grab the sigil stone, clear Kvatch of all its pests, save Boromir, then escort him to Waynham Priory. And we saved Joffrey from getting his head chopped off by some cultists. Then I quickly realised that letting them have the Amulet of Kings was a big mistake. Because if I had kept it, this wouldn't have happened. Bloody invalids. After this, I escort them to Cloud Ruler Temple, listen to Mr. Bean's Oscar-winning speech, then he sends me off to get the amulet back. Which means I have to start collecting books, like YouTube collects nonces. The guy with the first book got body blocked by my scamps in a basement and beaten to a pulp like it was some kind of gang attack. After half-inching the next one from a lizard and scamming the third one from Mr. Pointy Ears, now that it's once again time for some sewer antics, it's a good time to mention that every time I have to go inside a location, I almost immediately assume that the scamps won't follow me in because they are the most temperamental little shits in the universe. And lo and behold, I was right. After finally getting them to follow me, me and Boris pushed through the smelly pests. And then my scamps ganked the Manson family. Unfortunately, my boy Boris died in the battle. After grabbing the book and using it to learn where the cult's nerd cave is, after strolling through it like I own the place, I found out something that I found pretty funny. The cult members would constantly attack the scamps, so whilst Cameron Manker was giving his holier-than-thou monologue, you could barely hear what he was trying to say over the grunts and screams of my scamps and his followers.
Return with Lord Dagon at the coming of the dawn.
And they weren't aggroed on me either, just the scamps. And because the scamps can't truly die, by the law of averages, they will all get destroyed eventually. After nabbing the Mysterium Xarxes, my scamps go on a homicidal rampage. They must have slaughtered hundreds of them in these tunnels. I can't think of a more terrifying sight than 4 of these ugly shitbags running at you in a dimly lit cavern whilst letting out the most ungodly screech. After giving the book to Beans on Toast and setting my scamps on some traitorous spies, it's now time to get the materials I need to open the portal to Cameron's paradise. My first stop is the gutted mine to cure the vampires of their curses, which went a tad better than last time mind, but it still took a while because my scamps have as much strength as uncooked spaghetti. After my scamps defang them, me and the boys wander on down to Bruma to help the guards out with a little Oblivion Gate problem. As we walk through the greasy horror show, I started noticing that my scamps and the guards have a near identical level of intelligence. They have about as much self-preservation as a depressed lemming, and the spatial awareness of a hedgehog crossing a country road. The only difference is, my pointy-eared pets can afford to be reckless and dumb because they're literally immortal. These guys aren't so lucky. Despite lacking substance in the brain department, we do make it to the top together. Nick the sigil stone, then I upgrade my spell. Now it lasts 1 minute instead of 30 seconds, which should come in handy. Then I report back to Lean Mean Runnerbean for my next assignment, which as usual is to delve into Sancre Tor to get Bean Boy's family armour. But little did I know, on my approach to this bastard ruin, that it was going to cause me such a massive problem. The scamps didn't follow me in. This isn't a glitch, by the way, they just can't go in there. After running through myself to suss things out, I aggro the first undead blade. I applied a tactic identical to Napoleon's at the Battle of Waterloo, then when I get outside, I think I'm safe. But no, nowhere is safe. After the boys slap him around a bit, his ghost emerges. Then I find out that he can't go back in. So at this point, I came to the conclusion that the front door to Sancre Tor is like a one-way cat flap for NPCs. They can leave, but they can't go back in. Now, you may be thinking, well, that's the end of the run, GG boys. But no, I'm not giving up that easy. So I'm going to need a plan of attack. So here's a shitty one I drew up in Microsoft Paint. The armour is on a plinth in here. And the second that you start walking towards it, a massive blue light starts draining your health. And if that wasn't bad enough, when you get to the room, an invisible wall prevents you from entering. The armour is loose, meaning it can fall off. So my first plan was to make a telekinesis spell, dupe some health potions, hotkey them, and whilst I'm running towards the wall of Ghost Splooge, spam the potions, grab the armour with my mind, and voila, free armour. That didn't work at all. I think this is because telekinesis is a mysticism spell, and my mysticism level is trash. The next plan formed from some experimentation. I remembered that in Skyrim, if you use certain spells with explosive AoEs, then all the physic items in the room would take to the skies like a flock of migrating geese. So I tested it in Oblivion, and it even works here. Hell yes. So my next plan is going to go like this. Make an explosive fireball spell, dupe some health potions, hotkey them, and whilst I'm running towards the wall of Ghost Splooge, spam the potions, shoot the wall behind the armor, causing it to launch towards my face, and grab it through the splooge wall. It took a few attempts, but in the end, I actually bloody did it. After hightailing it out of the Discord mod's bedroom and returned to the almighty Heinz Lord, who wasn't too impressed by what I just done. Bloody arsehole. Now I'm off to get a great Welkin stone. On the way, I dodge this imp's magic like Neo dodges bullets, and luckily, when I arrive, my scamps decide to be on their best behaviour. Because after the shenanigans recently, my patience with them is wearing thin. To be fair to them, they do try their best to put down these zombies, but I ran through the damn thing so fast this time, I barely noticed how many they killed. After grabbing the great stone, I found out that they were locked out of the room, so I had to lockpick my way out instead of killing the King of Miskerend. After dropping it off, the Heinz CEO gets me to assist him in forcing the Countess of Bruma to let us use her city as a backdrop in our next plan to open a great Oblivion gate. He didn't really need me there though, he did fine on his own. He's clearly got a knack for manipulation. Upon arrival at the battlefield, I watch as my scamps and Bruma's soldiers fight against the hordes of hell. And I've got to say it, I'm actually quite proud of them for standing their ground as well as they did. You could say the fact that they can't die plays into it a lot, but we have to let them believe that they are at least somewhat useful. Once the great gate opens, me and the lads step inside, but we don't do much fighting as we're on the clock. So after making a beeline for the stone, I half-inch it, and after giving it to our dear leader, he opens the portal. And I'm so lucky that I made a save before he entered, because Paradise suffers from the exact same thing Sancre Tor does. My scamps will never be able to enter, which presents a problem, because I can't get the Amulet of Kings back without killing Cameron Manker, and I can't kill Cameron Manker without my scamps. So yeah, run's over. GG lads. Or is it? Cameron's Paradise is the last quest to get through before the end of the game, but that doesn't mean we need to complete it to get to the last quest of the game. See, like Skyrim, Oblivion also has a way to glitch through walls. And if you glitch through a specific wall in the Imperial City, you'll find this door, which when entered, leads directly to the final mission. Now all I have to do is exit the building, walk up the street a few feet, return to the building, and wait inside for Martin to show up. When he does, he turns into Alduin's dad and rips Molag Bol's throat out. After turning to stone, I drop the staff off at Darkfathom Cave and retire to Frostcrag's Spire, to finally live out the rest of my days with some peace and bloody quiet. And with that, I beat Oblivion with the Everscamps. This run required way too much thinking for such a simple premise, but it was so much fun seeing my plans come to fruition. Thanks for watching. If you enjoyed the video, why not leave a like and subscribe? It helps out the channel massively. Plus, if you turn on the notification bell, you get to watch more juicy content from yours truly when it releases. If you want to support me further, consider joining as a channel member. You get early access to videos and a mention in them for being such a legend. If there's a specific video you want to see, or you just want to have a chat, drop a comment down below, and I'll see you next time.